Alrighty everyone, welcome back. It is now October 5th of 2023, and as we are getting closer to the very end of this year, month by month, we know that Disney is gearing up for releases such as The Marvels, Wish, and let's not forget about Snow White the live-action remake. And Wish may very well be the only saving grace for Disney at this point for 2023, and even that is still a big 50-50 chance. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. Now, one thing about actress Gal Gadot is that there has been a lot of drama happening behind the scenes revolving around Snow White, the live-action remake. Now, we went over the budgeting of this movie, and it is massive. It is a little over $300 million, to say the least. You guys may actually have heard about the recent details that recently, of course, surfaced for The Little Mermaid 2023, that the budget was actually higher than previously reported, and that just goes to show you that that, too, was a movie that fell into a lot of issues in the box office side of things. Now, what's interesting about this scenario involves both Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot, and what's happening involving director Marc Webb. And there's a lot of things happening right now with Snow White, and it's not looking good at all in the least. Now, one thing about all of this that I think at the end of the day is really gonna bite Disney is the fact that they are trying to save this movie. They are trying to do this through re-editing the movie, through quite possibly refilming the movie or parts of it if and only when the SAG strike comes to a close by November 1. Now, interestingly enough, alright, on top of that, with Snow White 24 going through much damage control right now, one major development has to do with actress Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot. As it turns out, in a shocking turn of events, Gal has been getting involved in the Snow White drama behind the scenes so much between her team and the Disney heads. This time it involves how Gal no longer wants to do interviews side by side with actress Rachel Zegler. Disney was already beginning to set up major interviews to be done by those like Access Hollywood, Empire, and more, and they were going to have both Gal and Rachel sit next to each other, doing interviews together, promoting not just the movie, but the music for this film. Now, Gal is reportedly now forcing herself away from Rachel Zegler at all costs, and that there is a grudge happening between the two for other factors, such as Gal warming up to director Marc Webb, getting to keep more of her scenes over Rachel's. Now, we talked about this too, in case you have not been really up to speed about this. Basically, Snow White is getting a lot of scenes cut, and this is all greenlit by Bob Iger. He wants to do massive cutbacks on this movie to shave down the running time and to rearrange scenes to improve the flow of the story to boost up fan engagement levels or audience retention, right? Now, interesting on top of that is that Gal has a lot of problems with Rachel Zegler, not just for the fact that she knows that if she stays next to her, and if she pretty much, connects to herself as an actress in those interviews, all that drama is going to bounce back to Gal. Now look, I'm not going to sit here and say that Gal is a saint in all of this. I think that at the end of the day, she really was agreeing with Rachel Zegler when she was like, she's not going to be saved by the prince. I mean, she was really encouraging Rachel Zegler. Now, granted, Zegler started the whole thing, yes, but I think that Gal could have easily had said nothing at all in that interview and stayed quiet. She could have simply done that. She didn't have to say anything, and she jumped in anyway and said what she said. So, she believes in a lot of this nonsense, and we know she does, by the way. We've talked about this. She did say a couple things about Snow White before the SAG strike came to a close, or when that started. On top of this, though, however, with the re-edits underway and massive cutbacks taking place for Snow White, Gal convinced Marc Webb to not delete many of her scenes playing the evil queen. As of now, many of Rachel's scenes are getting cut, and she blames Gal for encouraging Marc Webb to move through all of that. The drama is so large and has been rattling throughout all of Disney behind the scenes about how this production is a very difficult one, even for post-production. Gal also defended Andrew Burnap behind closed doors in which Rachel Zegler reportedly had issues with him on set, which could very well connect to why she made those horrible statements about him losing his scenes on camera well over a year ago that only recently went viral. Now, to make things a little bit more specific for you guys, the major problem that Rachel reportedly had with Andrew Burnett is that Andrew really wanted to do so many different takes for his character Jonathan, who is also referred to simply as John in this movie. He wanted to do multiple takes for scenes that may or may not have been necessary, but he went a little overboard with that, and Rachel was just too impatient to deal with that, and that was the main drive as to why she had a lot of problems with him on set, because it created a inconsistent workflow. Now, to top things all off further, as of now, Gadot even turned down to participate in a presentation on stage with Rachel Zegler for the planned world premiere of Snow White. Disney heads are, of course, angered over this division between Gal and Rachel and realize to them it's bad for business and will make the marketing even more difficult. Disney is also getting frustrated with Gal creating these stirrups behind the scenes. Now, there seems to be a lot of problems happening in all directions. You got Rachel angered at Gal and vice versa. You've got director Marc Webb as the middleman, and you got the Disney heads really just shaking their heads over all of this drama happening for Snow White between the talents, right? Between the actors and actresses. Now, this is exactly why I've said multiple times that the PR for this film is going to be a disaster. The marketing for this movie is going to be a colossal failure, and it's going to go nowhere. They're already doing cutbacks in the marketing. We talked about this. Initially, they wanted to spend $100 million plus on the marketing that is now getting shaved down 45%. And that is going to drastically reduce the number of TV spots you see, the number of trailers that will be repeated in theaters, in front of other films out there, and internet ads drastically being cut back as well. So Disney's really trying to cheapo out on this thing and take a major step back and say, all right, let's just not spend as much money on this thing and see how much we can save from this disaster. Disney knows it's going to fail. They know that the fans know it's going to fail. And they seem like they're just trying to keep their image in place. That's why they're trying to appear overly confident about this movie, about how it's going to be a box office, record-breaking type thing. It just goes to show you that Bob Iger is a liar, the board of directors are incompetent, and deliberate with, really, this self-sabotage of the company, seemingly. And it's not just them. We gotta look at people like BlackRock and Vanguard, funding all of this nonsense, doing all of this swapping in all of these franchises. I mean, it's just getting very tiresome at this point, and very old, that I think Disney can only handle so much of this. They really can only take so much, and eventually everything is just going to implode. So anyway, guys, I would love to hear what you all have to say about this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.
From night to moon we hear them moans again.